Impaired driving is dangerous and can have tragic consequences, resulting in incarceration, fines, accidents, and even death. It's not just defined as being under the influence of alcohol. It can also refer to being under the influence of drugs or a controlled substance. Alcohol and drugs hinder our depth perception and motor skills, which are necessary functions to have when driving a vehicle. Good morning, my name is Carly. My husband is a Clearwater Police Department officer, and almost daily I hear about an accident or tragedy due to alcohol or drugs. According to the U.S. Department of Transportation website, every day 28 people in the United States die in motor vehicle crashes that involve an alcohol-impaired driver. This amounts to one death every 53 minutes. With driving under the influence being illegal in all 50 states, law enforcement takes this offense very seriously. Along with DUIs, it is protocol to set up checkpoints or roadblocks, usually at night and around a holiday weekend, to isolate impaired drivers. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration published that drunk driving involvement in crashes in 2014 was almost 4 times higher at night than during the day. Police must do whatever it takes to keep impaired drivers off the roads. Specifically, roadblocks are an essential tool to apprehend and isolate impaired drivers. Law enforcement and checkpoints are needed to deter people from impaired driving. Their presence alone can often be enough to influence people to have a designated driver. Many of the impaired drivers out there are repeat offenders and typically drive under the influence multiple times before ever getting caught. Checkpoints would increase the odds to get the habitual offenders off the streets for good. The Center for Disease Control Prevention website, Impaired Driving Get the Facts, explains there is substantial and consistent evidence from research that highly publicized, highly visible, and frequent sobriety checkpoints in the United States reduce impaired driving fatal crashes by 18 to 24%. It's important to keep in mind checkpoints are implemented as a preventative measure to educate the community and ultimately help to prevent impaired driving-induced accidents. According to Mothers Against Drunk Driving, or MADD, an average 2 out of 3 people will be involved in an alcohol-related crash in their lifetime. As strongly as some people feel about the need for action against impaired driving, many people feel police roadblocks are not an effective way to isolate impaired drivers and waste law enforcement resources. There are 3 significant opposing views about law enforcement sobriety checkpoints. First, some say police roadblocks violate a person's constitutional rights. In 2014, the U.S. Supreme Court answered this by stating the effort to stop impaired driving far outweighs the small violation against a citizen's Fourth Amendment right. Next, it's thought that checkpoints don't produce many impaired driver arrests. In actuality, on a holiday weekend, Clearwater Police Department DUI checkpoints produce about 25 arrests or citation just from their checkpoint efforts alone. Finally, people think roadblocks are less effective now because of social media. When people post on social media to warn about upcoming DUI details, it can actually be a positive thing, oftentimes influencing people not to drink and drive and make arrangements to call a cab or take Uber instead. By putting roadblocks into effect regularly, we can save lives by reducing the risk of impaired driver accidents and deaths. It would be most effective if every county had routine checkpoints, not just on holiday weekends, but several times a month. J.H. Lacey and R.K. Jones, authors of Evaluation of New Mexico's Anti-DWI Efforts, published in Police Chief magazine in February 2000, in a 2-year study by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, a statewide sobriety checkpoint program in New Mexico resulted in a 26% decline in alcohol-related fatalities. It's very powerful to think that if we consistently implement sobriety checkpoints, there would be less tragedy as a result of impaired drivers. Our roads would be a safer place. As a community, we must come together to fight against impaired driving. I ask you to take the pledge now at drinkinganddriving.org and vow never to drive while under the influence. If we stand by our police officers and support their efforts, then maybe future generations will never be affected by the devastation that comes along with impaired driving.